From Software's Dark Souls series redefined the gaming industry, creating a subgenre of its own. Today, we'll embark on a journey through the evolution of these legendary games, exploring their origins, innovations, and the lasting impact they've had on gaming. This is the evolution of Dark Souls. Let's go way back. In 1994, From Software released their very first game, Kingsfield, an ambitious first-person RPG for the original PlayStation. While it never saw an official release outside Japan, it laid the groundwork for what would eventually evolve into the Soul series. Unlike other RPGs of the time, Kingsfield didn't hold the player's hand. There were no quest markers or tutorials, just a vast, mysterious world begging to be explored. It was a game that demanded patience, rewarding only those willing to learn from their failures. Sound familiar? That's because these core design philosophies would later be redefined in Demon's Souls and perfected in Dark Souls. Our story begins in 2009, with a game that laid the foundation for what would become Dark Souls. Demon's Souls, a PlayStation 3 exclusive, introduced players to challenging combat, cryptic storytelling, and hauntingly beautiful worlds. Demon's Souls wasn't just a game, it was an experience. It introduced mechanics like the stamina system, intricate level design, and the idea of interconnected hub worlds. Players encountered their first taste of despair in the form of brutally tough enemies and the infamous phrase, "You died." Though Demon's Souls didn't achieve massive commercial success, it planted the seeds for the genre we now know as Souls-like. And from these seeds, Dark Souls was born. In 2011, Dark Souls was released, taking everything Demon's Souls introduced and elevating it to legendary status. This wasn't just a spiritual successor, it was an evolution. Dark Souls introduced an open, interconnected world that encouraged exploration and rewarded curiosity. The bonfire system became an iconic staple, acting as checkpoints in an otherwise hostile world. The combat was meticulously designed, with every enemy feeling like a genuine threat. Boss fights like Ornstein and Smoke or the Bell Gargoyles became unforgettable challenges. And who could forget the haunting beauty of locations like Anor Londo or the eerie depths of Blight Town. Dark Souls also delivered its cryptic storytelling through item description, NPC dialogue, and environmental clues, inviting players to piece together its fragmented lore. This approach not only created mystery, but cultivated a passionate fanbase that would dissect every detail. Then came Dark Souls 2 in 2014. While it's often considered the black sheep of the trilogy, it brought its own unique contribution to the series. Directed by Tomohiro Shibuya and Yui Tanimura instead of Hidetaka Miyazaki, Dark Souls 2 felt slightly different. It introduced a more accessible difficulty curve and experimented with new ideas like dual wielding and power stances. The game also had a bigger emphasis on replayability, with the introduction of New Game Plus mechanics that altered enemy placements and loot. However, many fans criticized its inconsistent world design as the interconnectedness of Dark Souls was missing. Despite this, the game's strengths, like its atmospheric locations and memorable bosses such as the Pursuer and Fume Knight, kept players invested. In 2016, Dark Souls 3 arrived, bringing the series full circle. With Hidetaka Miyazaki back at the helm, the game felt like a love letter to the franchise. Dark Souls 3 combined the best elements of its predecessors while speeding up the combat to match the pace of Bloodborne. It featured some of the most stunning locations in the series, like Irithel of the Boreal Valley, and bosses that are nothing short of epic, from the Abyss Watchers to the Nameless King. The lore of Dark Souls 3 acted as a culmination of the series, tying up storylines while still leaving enough ambiguity for fans to speculate. With its improved graphics, refined mechanics, and unforgettable moments, Dark Souls 3 is often regarded as the series' pinnacle. While Dark Souls 3 marked the end of the trilogy, its legacy lives on. From Software continued to innovate with games like Bloodborne, which introduced a more aggressive combat system, and Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice, which shifted focus to precise parrying and stealth. And then, of course, there's Elden Ring. Released in 2022, Elden Ring built on the framework of Dark Souls, bringing its open world vision to life. This spiritual successor introduced horseback combat, massive exploration, and the same cryptic storytelling we all know and love.
Unfortunately for you, however, you are maidenless. Without guidance, without the strength of runes, and without an invitation to the round table hold, you are fated, it seems, to die in obscurity.
The Dark Souls DNA is undeniable in these titles, showing just how much the series has influenced gaming as a whole. Beyond the games themselves, Dark Souls has left an inedible mark on gaming culture. From its memes like Get Good, or its influence on countless indie and AAA games, the series has shaped an entire generation of players. Speedrunners push the games to their limits, completing them in record times, while lore enthusiasts unravel the deepest mysteries of its world. I'm looking at you, Vati. It's more than just a series, it's a phenomenon. As we sit by the bonfire, it's clear that Dark Souls is more than just a game series. It's a journey, a test of resilience, patience, and determination. Its evolution reflects the growth of From Software and the passion of its community. And while the flame of Dark Souls may flicker, it will never go out. Thank you for watching, and may the flames guide your way.